Hello and welcome, everybody. It is Thursday night, so it is time once again for the Tank Show, where we try and spend some time acquiring new knowledge. I have with me my buddy, pal, and co-host, Chattanooga Ed. It is going to be Attack of the Cats night. Ed had some things going on with his cat and his computer, which we started a couple minutes late. Appreciate y'all being here. Then I've got one of my cats up on my lap who's insistent on maybe not even being part of the show, but being present. So I appreciate y'all being here. A huge thanks for that. Sorry I was not here last week. I wasn't feeling well, and I had a lot of family stuff going on at the same time. So it just wasn't. I wasn't going to provide a quality show. I don't feel like or be able to. So we just kind of bypassed that, and I ended up getting some extra rest and feeling better. And here we are. We don't have
We didn't have
quote unquote. Yeah, no, I took last week off, but things are well. I did not schedule a specific topic for tonight because I wanted to be able to get to more questions and comments from the chat this week, as opposed to the last couple of weeks. You know, we do a topic, and it generally takes about half of the show to get through that to really cover things in at least decent enough depth for a beginner to kind of get their basic questions answered. I do want to talk about a couple of things that are coming up. One of those being Aquashella, of course. That is 6 or 7 weeks away. It's just around the corner. I will be at that, as will Ed, and I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, Dallas, absolutely. I know I saw some people over in the KG Tropicals chat that were talking about that. I'm really looking forward to it, even after having been to quite a few of them at various locations. It's still always a great time. There's always something new for me to check out, new people to meet. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Everyone is different, even though they all have the same name.
Yeah. It's always the same, yet it's always different. It's always a good time. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the other thing I do want to talk about real quick is if you were anywhere near East Tennessee, the local club here, the East Tennessee Aquatics Association, they're having their spring swap this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we will get a link in the chat for that. But I'm looking forward to going to that. I can't really pick up a whole lot of stuff just because I'm pressed for space, which we may talk more on that depending upon how many questions and comments we get in the chat tonight. May give you all a fish/life update on what the heck's been going on around here. But I'm really excited for that because I get to go, of course, see the group and hopefully find some awesome things and meet some of you all that I've been talking to through Facebook about various things, but I haven't actually gotten to meet in person. So really looking forward to that. You going to be able to get to that one, Ed?
Yes, I am. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if I'm really going to pick up anything, but I just want to go for the fun of it. But there is going to be one super cool thing at the show or at the swap is the club has their official new hats. And
Yes,
so
I
I'm
saw
really
those.
looking forward to buying one of those hats. And I'm going to get one of the stickers and stick it on the back of my computer. You know, I didn't stick a whole bunch of stickers on my old computer, but this one, I think I'm going to do it all up in fish stickers.
And see, I did vice versa. My previous laptop is still covered in stickers, and this one I haven't put anything on it just because it was pricey and a gift from someone that is not with us anymore. So I've kind of tried to keep this like as pristine as possible for that sake. But I definitely need to get a sticker, and hopefully the cat will stop pushing the laptop and moving the camera around.
Oh my! They keep.
Nope.
Normally the cats come this way to get onto the desk, but they keep coming this way and stepping on the keyboard, and they're driving me nuts tonight. But you know what? We don't normally do happy birthdays. Not that we don't think about them or not, but today is two awesome people's birthdays. I haven't seen one of them, but one is Big Tank Hank is here, and he does so much for the community. He's such a nice guy.
Yes.
He's just Mr. Positivity. And I love his streams. A lot of times I'm not there live, but I'll watch it the next day or a couple days later because they're always uplifting and fun. So you guys check out Big Tank Hank if you get a chance. And happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, my friend. Well, who was the other? You said we had two.
Well, the other is Peplin. Brian,
Oh,
Peplin.
okay.
I almost said
Yeah.
Peplin Lake. Peplin, not Peplin Creek. Peplin, wait, Peplin Creek? Peplin Farms. Peplin Creek Farms? Pe- What's Peplin's real name? I always
Um,
call it
Pe-
Peplin.
Peplin Creek Aquatics last I knew, but that could have changed. I'm not quite as in touch with everybody's as I was at one point.
Here it is. Peplin Creek Aquatics. He gave you $5 for his birthday. That's awesome.
There it is. I see that. Peplin Creek Aquatics, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Happy birthday to you as well, my friend. Saying thank you, Ed. Some hearts there. I almost forgot. Got the happy dances for the super chats and things. I do need to throw one out there for Sean Chadwick, who came in well before the stream even started with the $2 super chat saying, looking forward to the replay. Thank you so much, Sean. I know you're catching this because you are often a member of the replay crew, and that's greatly appreciated. Get back on the chat here. I did see a question, but it's just good old depths unknown being depths unknown. It said, can you tell me why a cleric would be a better choice over a paladin?
Well, because paladins are snobby and snooty, and clerics are awesome.
There you go. Absolutely. I'm just going to roll with Ed on that. And like Paul Steris mentioned in the chat, to get me off topic, or in other words, to get your question or comment read live on the air, feel free to type the @ symbol and then Fish Room Fever. What that does is it highlights on my screen and it makes it stand out. So it's a lot easier to find those things without having to dig through every single question or comment, because oftentimes you all get some good side conversation going and it has nothing to do with me or wanting my opinion on anything, which is awesome and just fine.
I have a bag of filter media. I got this about 10 years ago. Well, no, probably not. Probably like 5 years ago. And I have no idea for sure what type of filter media it is. So I'm going to cut it open and put it in here.
Very nice.
I got a whole bunch of stickers there so Nico wouldn't eat them. I'm going to take those off.
While you're
If
doing
there's a
that,
sticker, he eats it. It's terrible.
I love the cats. Sarah J. Siebert, the Savannah Darter, always good to see you, Sarah, says, I'm flying to Knoxville on the 13th and then heading to Wartburg. That is awesome. I'll be around. You know, I'm out in Union County now, but it's not that far from Knoxville. I hope you have a safe trip. I hope you have some fun. Always good to see
Now,
you,
is
Sarah.
Warren,
I appreciate you being here.
what county is Knoxville in? I thought Knoxville was in Knox County.
Knoxville's in Knox County, but I'm a little bit further away now. I'm no longer in Knox County. I'm at Union County. And there's Dobby, the other cat. He's going to come sit and say hello and bite me for the stream. We kind of figured that was going to happen. Ken's Aquatics, or Ken's 3D and Aquatics. Nice. Says, just saying, hey, been working insane hours, sending care packages to you and Ed, hopefully Monday. I do very much appreciate that. Ken, I need to make sure that you have my new address, because the address that you sent that last care package to was my old address in Knoxville. So I need to get you the new one. And I need to get up to the post office and get a PO box set up like we used to have back in the day. But I do appreciate that very much. I hope you're doing well, and don't let them work you too awfully hard. So what do you got there, Ed?
Well, I don't know why I bought this, but it was off of one of those Wish things, and it was just bags of media. But check it out. I mean, that's good media. It's this is a pound. Let me cut the plastic.
All the dust. Very nice.
Yeah. So there was a pound there, and then a bag of this stuff. The bio balls.
Oh, yeah, the bio balls.
And I think I paid $1.99 for this, or $2.99, and I had no idea. It was just so cheap. I just bought it, and then I never opened it up. And I've been reorganizing the secondary fish room, because the breeding room is also going to be my storage room. So I'm like reorganizing everything and putting it in boxes with labels. And I found this media. I could feel that it was media, and then I remembered it was from Wish. But that's a pretty darn good deal from Wish.
That is, and you
I
could
bought
throw those into a canister, or go ahead.
Yeah, well, I bought it. I was gonna. What you're gonna say is gonna be more impressive, but I bought a 4X T-shirt, figuring I'm gonna get it even one size bigger because you know I don't know how small it'll be. And when it got to me, it was so small. I gave it to my niece that was like at the time she was 12 and now she's 17 or 8. No, now she's 18. So it's been a while, but she fit in it. So it was probably like a medium preteen or teenage t-shirt.
Right.
There's It would have fit my head. But so don't buy clothes off Wish, but buy your bio balls. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, you do have to worry about some of the clothing sizes not being in American standard sizing. I've had that happen before as well, unfortunately. So yeah, those were great for a canister. Or you could just actually toss them down in a tank to get them seated, and then you'd have something you could transfer over to a new tank. You throw them in a sump, throw them in the back of a big hang-on bag. Really good deal on that stuff.
Yeah.
The cat
And
is all about licking.
I opened this one earlier. Oops, I dropped it. I was just buying lots of different medias. And this one is like the floatable ones,
Hmm.
the the biofilters or the bioreactor filters.
Yep.
These things are real light and a little bit of air will pump through it. And the idea is that uh the bacteria will grow on the insides free of being bothered, but on the outside it'll grow and hopefully it'll knock the old dead stuff off when they collide. So they're always moving, and so it never gets completely covered with dead stuff, but the inside will have your core bacteria growing on the outside as they're and it's just the air bubbling from the bottom. That was back. I bought all this stuff when I was a lot more into DIY projects and doing everything super cheap and affordable.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to
absolutely.
try a bio live sand uh
Hmm.
filter. Have you ever done one of those?
I have not. I've considered it more for the sake of making to show how to make one, more for the sake of doing the project than actually running one. Not that I wouldn't run it
Yeah.
after I built it, but I've never been in a position where I looked and thought, I need a moving sand bed filter for that aquarium. But they are neat
I
projects.
I, I want to do one just for the fun of it also. But
Yeah,
it's not really worth
absolutely.
doing on just like a 10-gallon tank. I One of the fish stores in St. Louis, it was my favorite fish store, is called ABC Fish. And they had, I think, 120, and they had taken a 2 inches off, put in glass with the water and sand, and you could see the sand just looked like liquid bubbling in it. And that was the only thing they used for filtration, and it was awesome. And I think they used it on their goldfish, or it might have been their feeder goldfish for all I know, or can remember. And I just remember talking to the guy about it, and he said, yeah, he wanted that for for a tank that had a heavy load, and it worked. So it's like that's the only one I've ever seen in person. It was cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess we'll do some updates here. Just kind of let everybody know where we're sitting at. It's been an interesting couple of weeks here on the farm at the house. Fish wise, we do have another batch of blue-eyed lemon plecos that I've got pulled off into a breeder box. So that makes two batches this month of those. Of course, the bristlenose have made babies. We've got a lot of different guppy and Inler strains that have had fry. We did get some more of the steak Inler fry, and we got some more of the blue Hawaiian guppy fry. Let's see, the black bar Inlers have had a bunch of fry. The Japanese blue cross that I created, they've had more fry, so they're into the next generation. Just basic fish maintenance. The big things, it's been kind of interesting because we are but we might have to move, which before you freak out, not anywhere off the property, but quick sum up, it's we purchased this land and it was on free and clear, but there were 3 mobile homes on it that were owned by various people. One of which we've acquired. One we were working on, but it's going into probate because someone passed away. So we're still waiting for that to get figured out so we can move on it. And then the third, which I'm living in currently, we were working on negotiations with purchasing it because we're not going to rent something forever on a property. That just makes no sense. But the guy's really kind of been a jerk. It's just he's wanting way too much for it, way more than it's worth. So we're in a position of I've got to move out of this, it looks like, and then bring something else in its place, which is interesting with the fish. And that's the reason I bring it up, is because instead of being able to put that time and energy towards the new fish room, which I've been drawing out plans for, and I've got, I think, a really good design worked out. I've been through a bunch of different drafts on how I want to do it, and how I want to brace it and support it. And I've looked at some prefab things and stuff like that. Now my attention's kind of been taken away from that into, okay, well, now I've got to just kind of get the tanks and stuff moved into a comfortable, safe location for the fish in a shorter time frame, get myself and the family moved to something, which we've got like a 46-foot fifth wheel camper on the property here, so that's not a huge issue. But it's just kind of one of those things. So that's been frustrating. And then we had a dumpster, 30 foot, I think, dumpster dropped yesterday because the people that rented all of these properties, or all of these homes on the property, they just trashed the place. I mean, I've talked about it a little bit before, but just piles and piles of trash and appliances and furniture and all that stuff. So we've been loading up another dumpster. So that's kind of slowed efforts down with other projects that I want to do, like being able to build out the fish room, actually get some of the breeding projects really going, because a lot of the things that I have, like, got huge colony of mystery snails, but I don't have them in a breeding tank because I'm having to kind of put things together. My Cory cats are not in a dedicated breeding setup. They're in with some other fish. So it's kind of put things behind, but everything will be fine. It's just frustrating because I'm not getting to do the things that I want to do and want to share with you all. But such is life, we'll get through it, and I don't have to like go anywhere. I just have to figure out what the heck to do in the meantime until we get everything sorted out. So that's kind of where things have been here. So where we're at, always a challenge, but always make it through, and it'll be, it'll all work out in the end.
Yeah, boy, that's a drag though. Darn it.
Yeah.
And
But
now in the
it
final
still
hour,
is.
if he refuses to sell, do you demand him to move?
Yep. And the fun thing about up here is it's not just a basic moving fee to bring in a mobile home or take out a mobile home, because of the hairpin turns and things. They have to utilize special equipment, and it's actually a 2-day process just to get it the last couple of miles down the road. And so, like, it's $10,000 to $12,000 typical estimate to move one in or out of here, and I don't think that he's really thinking of that. So in the long run, essentially, what'll probably happen is we'll end up moving out into other buildings and things on the property, getting the fish elsewhere. And then he'll realize, shoot, I can't afford to move this thing out of here. I have nowhere to take it. And then he'll finally realization, will hit him. He thinks he's in a situation that, he's got us in a corner and he doesn't. it took 2 months to get him to actually comprehend the fact that he did own the property, that we own the property. So he's not a rational person with a lot of this stuff, I guess is the best, politest way to put it, you know. So,
Gotcha.
but it's what it is. We'll figure it out. But it's I brought it because it's put me behind on a lot of other stuff that I want to be working on, you know. So it's a shame for the fish because I run out of the tanks I have them in and into their final setups and things. I've got some other really cool plans that we've come up with for the new fish room, as well as an extremely large outdoor pond that we're going to do, at least one large outdoor pond. But it kind of all gets put on hold, and you deal with life, right? So it is what it is.
I just realized I still have my green screen thing up because I was like, what is orange in my fish tank? And I kept turning around looking, what's orange? That's the plants in my fish tank from
Yeah,
my
and
Dungeons and Dragons game.
Jeff Kane says in Wisconsin, if mobile home's chilled, you can't legally move it and it has to be dismantled on site. Yeah, absolutely. That's another thing I think they're going to run into because same family owns the one that's in probate, which is a double wide. And the reason I mentioned it being a double wide is the fact that you have to cut those in half to transport them. But same here in Tennessee, they have to pass the safety inspections to be legally allowed on the road. And I know that's not going to happen. But unfortunately, said that one's in probate because the lady that owned it kind of had a family passed, and so we're waiting to figure out when on earth, they get an executor and all that stuff. But we've got available stuff. We've got a couple large sheds that we could have dropped here. I can build, my mother can build, most of the family can build things, and we've done, construction and wiring and plumbing and all of that stuff. So got to figure out exactly what we're going to do. But and like I said, we've got a fifth wheel pull behind camper on the property as well. So worst case, go stay in that. But I can't put all the fish tanks in there, so I've got to have something either dropped or build something quickly enough to get the tanks into it. Wired with sufficient to be able to heat it and all that stuff, or cool it as it's starting to get warmer now. So it's just a hassle, but it is what it is. Hey, Bed Aquatics, good to see you. But we'll get it all sorted out, but that is the biggest reason for kind of the delay in some of the projects that we had going. I also had my oldest twin boys, which are 17. They came and stayed with me for school, whatever break it is, spring break. Which one of them was homesick, so he went home today, but the other one's here through Saturday. So he's spent a week out here. So it's been nice to get to spend some time with him and spend some more time with one of them after I get off of here later. And so yeah, that is the life update, because I do get a lot of those questions as well. So I figured I'd let everybody know what was going on, since it did specifically impact why haven't you started building the new fish house? Oh, that's why.
Well, now, are the
Over there
twins
playing with
identical
green screen.
twins?
They are not.
Oh, that's too bad because identicals are really cool. Not that yours aren't cool.
Thanks, buddy. So I've noticed over the years of doing live streams, this is how it kind of tends to work. If Ed and I plan a topic, we don't really get a lot of, or if Ed and I plan a topic, we get usually more questions than we can answer. If we leave a chat open to answer questions, we don't tend to get a lot of questions. So we end up filling time, so to speak. So that being said, we're going to do what we do best, and we're just going to do something on the fly here. That does pertain to a question that I was asked and a subject that I've been covering with someone that's trying to set up a fish tank that was just getting back into the hobby. That has to do with plants. Without going into a lot of detail, the basis of it was kind of explaining, how the process works when you buy plants from a local fish store, or you order from someplace online, how they could have better success with it. So we're going to touch on that a little bit. And as I see questions and comments pop up that are highlighted and cats keep bumping the table, we will address those things. For anybody that's not familiar, which I think a lot of you are, but anybody that's not familiar, you run into two different types of aquatic plants or aquarium. We'll say aquarium plants, not even aquatic plants. And that is things that you're receiving that have been immersed grown or they've been grown, with the leaves out of water. And then you run into your submerged grown. More oftentimes than not, and I'm going to generalize, which is something I don't like to do a lot. Is Ed frozen? Somebody just said Ed's frozen. I didn't notice
I was
because Ed is
frozen.
down here. So I try not to look at Ed. I actually try to just look up here at the camera.
I am frozen
yeah, you're
on the
frozen
other
on
side.
mine too. Yeah. Maybe drop
I'm
off
like,
of it and
I'm like,
throw it back up
what?
there.
Okay, sorry. I
No,
wonder if
you're
that
fine,
happened
buddy.
when oh, look, it's the green screen.
Yep.
Okay, I am so sorry. I got to
Oh,
figure out
you're
how to do
fine.
this.
Here. But yeah, so I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to what's going on Ed's screen because he's over here. You all are up here. Chad is down here because I'm just on the one monitor still because I wasn't going to build out the streaming area in this home anyway. Hey, Ed's moving again. Welcome back, buddy.
That's a
But
long time.
I guess, yeah. And I didn't even notice.
And
So
I've got the picture right next to me, and I never even looked over at that. I just was looking at chat. So then I look, and I'm like, wait a minute, I am frozen.
oh goodness.
Oh.
You never know what's going to happen around here, folks. Just hang in there and strap in tight. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
There is what you mentioned the two types of plants to ship. I almost say there's three because floating plants that don't like to be wet for shipping those. A lot of people are afraid of shipping those guys. And I have a trick, and I'm pretty good at shipping them. And I use a Ziploc bag. You're not supposed to use Ziploc bags, but I want a flat bag. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper towels. I'm going to take a paper towel, and then I'm going to fold it a couple times. And then I'm going to pour water on it, okay? And then squeeze it out so it's damp. Then I'm going to take all my floating plants. So I'd like to take my water lettuce, and I'm going to lay the roots down on the wet paper, and I fold it over so that they're completely moist, all the roots. And then I'm going to slide that into my Ziploc bag. And then I'm going to tape the Ziploc bag to the top or the bottom of the box. And I tape along the top of the zip too. So that way it's really good. But it's not going to shake it or anything, because it's stuck to the box and they stay in there real well. Anybody I've ever sent live plants to, I've never had a problem with. And I think it's just a great trick. And then, like, if there's enough, or if they want enough, or maybe they want frog bed on the top, or I've never sent hyacinth, but something else that doesn't like getting wet on the leaves. I do the same, and I would just stick it to the other side of the box, so the box would have the two bags taped to the sides of the box, and it really works good.
Absolutely. There you go. All right. So as it pertains to going and purchasing plants, a lot of people, I guess if you're new to plants, don't really understand the process and the fact that generally, and again, we're going to talk in some generalizations here, but generally speaking, a lot of the plants that you would purchase from fish store, online sources, things of that nature, have been immersed grown, meaning they've been grown with the leaves and stems out of water. And that typically, generally, is a different type of growth than what you get underwater from that very same plant. A lot of times it looks different. It does have different requirements because when they're being grown out of water, they have unrestricted access essentially to atmospheric CO2. And there are other reasons for growing plants out of water immersed. But when they get to, say, your local fish store, oftentimes that's the first time that they're actually being fully submerged and they have to transition over. I don't know, we've got several people in the chat that are aware of this, but it's something that's one of those issues that, as somebody that's done it before and has been around for years, kind of you forget that people don't just know these things, and that sometimes you have to go touch base and talk about these things again and help people out in that way. So you do oftentimes have to transition new plants that you get, whether it's from an online retailer or your local fish store. Those plants typically will need a transition period, and you will see some die off, sometimes a lot of die off. The most important thing that I've found in transitioning plants, even if you get a lot of die off, is as long as you keep that root system going, you tend to be okay. As long as you still have a root system and it's got access to nutrients, to fertilizers, and you're lighting the tank appropriately, generally speaking, they will come back, and you'll get that submerged growth, which is what you're actually looking for. So if you've got some plants and they're not doing too well and having die off, hang in there. I know a lot of times people see, oh, well, half of this plant died off, and their instinct is just pull it out and throw the thing in the trash and be like, man, that didn't work. Nope, we're not going to get on the computer, kitty. Sorry. And that's understandable. You go, oh man, this plant's dying off. It's done. If it's really bad, you can trim off all the dead stuff and again, leave the roots in there and see what happens. Because I found more often than not, those root systems, will still thrive and you'll start getting that growth that you want. A great way to acquire plants, if you have the opportunity, is things like this weekend's aquarium swap that we're going to from the local club. Because more often than not, the plants that you get there are other hobbyists and they're pulling them out of their tank. They're already submerged grown. You don't really have to transition them, except maybe if you're coming from different, municipalities in terms of water. So maybe your water's a little bit different, but usually they don't really have a hard time with stuff like that. And plants are typically very hardy and can handle quite a bit. But I've found that that's one of the easiest way to get good plants that don't take a lot of work. That being said, again, don't freak out if you start to see plants die off. I actually will float pretty much all of my plants. If I say I go and order some plants online, which I've done this in the past, order a bunch of plants from Aquarium Co-op and I get them and then I'll float them for a couple of weeks. If it's something that starts growing real funky, I know that's technical terminology, but let's say it's floating and maybe it's floating at a weird angle, so the leaves are starting to grow in a direction that would be weird when I plant it. You can weigh it down and let it sit on top of the substrate, but still in the water column versus immediately rooting things. If it's stem plants, those things you can float pretty much indefinitely. I know Ed and I both have currently, at least in the past as well, floated stem plants. But I'm just going to use them as floating plants and just let them go.
It's almost easier.
That's another, yeah, it is. And then they have, really good access to that water column. They're closer to the light, so that can help with the transition as well. It's just a real simple way to do it. And I found that I've had, at least personally, really great success with floating things. That being said, you do have, and I don't know everybody's methods, but I do know that Co-op, they run CO2 in their tanks to kind of help with that transition between the time they get plants from the farm to the time that they ship out, which is something I talked about with an individual. Is you never really know with that. It's such an unmeasurable variable, because you may have bought a plant that has been sitting in a co-op tank for, we'll say, 2 weeks, in a CO2 tank that's had plenty of time to transition over from immersed to submerged. You may buy, a hot cellar or something that they didn't have in stock. It just came in, and now it's spent a day or 2 days or whatever, time length in that CO2, and it hasn't really quite gotten the amount of time to transition from immersed to submerged. So it can vary.
I've got some Nubius right now that's getting way too big for the 12-gallon tank it's in. It's in a 12-gallon cube. And I was looking at it yesterday and it's like, it's time to pull it or at least break it. So it's a lot smaller, but it's growing out of the tank. And the leaves, the emerged leaves are huge. They're almost like this. They're almost a foot long. And then all the immersed.
Emerged.
I don't know which way I'm going here, but the ones under the water are real pretty little ones, that look like pothos. It's just really, I love seeing the plants come out because they look so much different when they come out. But I don't
I do.
think it's wrong to ask your local fish stores. I believe in having a really good relationship with your mom and pop stores. Like mine's Aquatic Aesthetics. Oops, I don't know where it is. I thought it was behind me, but it's not. But Aquatic Aesthetics is one of my locals, and he gets all of his from a farm down in Florida, and he doesn't want to sell ones that haven't already transitioned. So if he gets ones that aren't transitioned, he'll do the melting process himself and get them to where they need to be. And then my other local fish store, and I know that your fish store gets their plants from Dustin also. So
Mhm.
Dustin's plants, um, and he already does all of his underwater. So you'll know right away that they're good to go too.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I love asking questions. And normally if a fish store owner is going to be sly and not want to tell you straight up, basic questions, don't trust them. You want to buy fish, healthy fish come from honest people. And if they're not going to be honest, go to the
Absolutely.
next guy. Dustin Fish
There
Tanks.
you
Thank
go.
you, Matt.
See, Paul Stero said, "Okay, fish nerds, start fertilizing the stream. Surprise James with your deep thoughts at Fisher and Fever." Absolutely. Thank you, Polly, for all the hard work you do moderating, keeping all these people in line. And we got Fantastic Freaks, been a member for 31 months, almost 3 years, my friend. How time does fly. On Team Snowball, using that membership milestone super chat. Give that guy 2 thumbs up. Said, "Hi, James, Ed, Fish Fam. Hope all is well. Anyone got plant ideas that would look good with Crips and Jungle Val? 510-gallon plywood tank needs one more plant."
Rips
Bulbitis.
and Jungle
That's
Val.
I've done it with both of those together. And the reason I mentioned Bulbitis is because even when I had it in the 100, and I'll take this 110, but it's just a little shorter than the 125. But even front to back, I had a huge bulbitis plant. I mean, it more than a 10-gallon worth of plant. I just didn't have enough room to keep that plant whole. So I think that would be awesome. That's one of those that you could let that thing grow, and you've got this massive, bigger than my hands are showing on camera now, massive plant that you end up with. It just looks really cool, and you're like, "Huh, I didn't know bulbitis would do that if you left it alone and gave it plenty of space." What about you, Ed?
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm either going to go with a small thing that's going to go like down in front. So you've got your Jungle Val in the back, your Crips, and then maybe you could do like your Nano Petite. Maybe you could have something even bigger and go with um your Madagascar fern and have that as your main plant and it'll spread out real big, my hands can only go so far because I'm in a box, but so big, and then it'll shoot up a giant flower, and then once a year it like shrinks down and then does it again. And it's really cool, and it's one of the coolest plants in the world to watch shrimp on because of all the little square holes all over it. And you can have that in flow. I always thought that was a real delicate plant, but it's actually a plant that lives in rivers with a lot of flow, and the holes help the water go through it without it going crazy. So pretty bizarre. I mean, it's pretty neat that we've got design like aerodynamics in plants.
Absolutely.
It's one of my favorites. And if you do that, it's a bulb. I take 3 little rocks and I put them all next to each other like a little campfire, and I put them uh, like however big the bulb, if the bulb's an inch, I put the rocks so they're a half inch of sand above them, and then I plant the bulb right over those 3 rocks. And what that'll do is your fish at like the burrow and stuff won't knock it over. It'll stay nice and straight. It won't get too deep and it won't get too high. And the plant just grows great off of those 3 little rocks. It's like a perfect little stool, like if you had like an Easter egg you wanted to show off or something, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's what I would do.
Oh, our buddy Rico staying here. Good to see you, Rico. Been a member for 31 months. Again, quickly approaching that 3-year mark. On Team Snowball, using his membership milestone super chat. Well, happy dance for Rico staying there. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Let's see what he's getting me into here. Says, I wish I had a pencil thin mustache, the Boston Blackie kind, a 2-tone Ricky Ricardo jacket, and an autographed picture of Andy Devine. You got me there, buddy. I know that means something. I just don't know what it is. My apologies. Once again, you win. And I
Is that
have
part of putting on the
defeated
Ritz?
this round.
Just like Gary Cooper. Wish I had
Oh,
a
world.
mustache. I don't know.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I don't
Maybe.
know if that's
Also,
part of it, but it could be.
we can make it work. That could happen. Whips World, brother, I feel you. I appreciate you. And I know you've been around forever. Whips World using that membership milestone super chat says, I hate using this expletive milestone membership chat because his membership time got reset. But I know you've been around for a long time, Whip. So anybody that sees that 5 months, just add like 20 to it or 30 to it. And that's about where he's at. He's up there. He's one of those that was a member way back at the beginning as well. But look at this guy, the new guy here. Oh wait, I got to do this for Whip because he the face palm for Whip since he let his membership lapse. What were you thinking? Chattanooga Ed, I've heard of that guy. I think he even has a YouTube channel or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check it out. I've been a member for 35 months. 35 months, any day now, for 3 years. Says me too, new guy. Give him a hard time there. I love it. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We don't have a lot of questions, which is fine, perfectly fine. That's a good thing. That means that a lot of people are doing well and they don't need help. Since we don't have a lot of questions, we're going to go rogue. We're going rogue. We're pulling the camera off. And we're going to look at some tanks here. That's the piranha tanks.
Well, you're
yes,
doing
that's chicken wire.
Wow. Is that so you don't have your twin sons put their fingers in there?
Oh, that light that's on there is awful. Look at it. Look at how it does on the camera. Yeah, we're not going to look at that in that direction. That's to keep the dogs out because the dogs and cats both think that it's
Gosh, that'd be
okay.
horrible if they lost
Drink
their
out of there.
nose. Or a little tongue bite. Oh, that'd be horrible.
There we go. This lighting doesn't flicker on camera. So here's some fry. We talked 2 weeks ago, the last episode, which 2 weeks ago, about using these dollar store colanders for fry drops. And that's exactly what I've got going. They've dropped a couple of fry today. This is these guys, right? I think maybe. No, that is not. Let's see how much camera cord I got here. These guys. Yeah.
Actually, let's do this. There we go. Now people can see it a lot better.
Yeah. So we're just using the dollar store colander there instead of spending a bunch of money on a breeder box system. Dropped it into a 10-gallon. Fit just fine. Then the babies are born. They swim out the bottom, and then they're safe because these particular ones really like to eat their fry. See if we can get the blue stars to come over here, and I can show the difference in the blue stars. Oh, he's going to hide back at the back. Okay, well, there's a blue star male swimming above the filter there. Yeah, oh my God, there's algae and detritus. It's horrible. Sorry, I'll stop shaking. So there are the blue stars. You can see there's 2 males chasing a female. These over here are the blue star hybrids, which have almost identical color, but males get a bit bigger. They're doing really well. I mixed these. I took the Blue Star Inlers and the Japanese blue red double swordtail Inler and mixed them. I have no coloration, but the males came out all looking the same, just a bigger size. So I'm really happy with those. These guys that still don't want to give me babies, the orange and whites.
You're awesome looking though.
Yeah, they are. He's gonna drop soon enough. Say hi to these guys. Go on road. Didn't expect to do this. Camera's not really set up for it. But hey, it is what it is. Got some babies in that breeder box. Bushy nose. That's on back in. You can see they're tearing that wood up. That's what it looks like the day after I gravel, or not gravel back, gravel in there, but after I cleaned the bottom, they just tear that wood and stuff up. All right, I saw a couple of things pop up in chat. So let's put you all back. Teleport. This is marking.
Oh,
Teleport.
there we go.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you doing the work there on that. Where was it? Xanadu. Good to see you, my friend. Wait, hold on a second. Ed, you didn't get a happy dance. You get a wink. How you doing, Ed?
Oh,
Xanadu, been a member for 27 months. Says, man, I'm behind at only 27 months. No, you're not. You're not, my friend. You are right on schedule. Give you that happy dance right there. We raised the roof a little bit. Depson knows that I have a question, Fisher and Fever. What do you do with fish that have passed on? So it can be dependent upon, what size is the fish? What is your I don't want to say municipalities. What's your waste system on? Or are you flushing this into water treatment plant or what? I know a lot of people will just flush smaller fish. I typically, for me, what I will do, especially being out here in the country, one, we've got multiple septic tanks on here. We're not on any type of water treatment plants. And I don't like to put anything down the septic that doesn't need to go down the septic. But oftentimes what I'll do is, again, a lot of property, and we will just take them to the tall grass, as I call it. We've got some spots that are, off from the house near the fence. I'll be like, here, son, go dump this guy in the tall grass. And for smaller fish, that works fine. You don't really have to worry about any smell or anything like that, or attracting a lot of animals for guppies and Inlers and small things. If it gets to larger fish, let's say, okay, I've got a 10-inch Oscar that just died. I'm probably just going to go outside and bury it. That just seems to be the easiest thing for me. If I were to go chuck that in the woods, yeah, I could do that. But chances are, with 6 cats on the property, one of them is going to find it and drag it back up on the porch. So I'd rather just go ahead and if that's not an option for you, which maybe you're in an apartment or someplace like that. Variables, if it's close enough that it's not going to smell up your trash or the dumpster outside of your apartment complex or whatever, double bag that thing off in some shopping bags, throw it in with your trash that you're taking out to the dumpster, dispose of it that way. Xanadu says, my dearly departed fish go into the garden. There you go. Great fertilizer. But I guess the biggest thing would be trying to make sure, let's say I had a really sick fish. I always try and consider not putting disease or parasites into a water supply, even though, things may go through a cleaning process at a plant and chlorine and chloramine, all those things to make water drinkable again. I like to try and make sure that I'm not introducing anything crazy into any type of water source anywhere. Same thing with long story short, once I get the main fish house built, I'm actually going to have it set up to where it water changes too much, meaning the water coming out of it is not really super dirty. It's not way off in parameters. That water is then going to flow over into the big pond that I'm building. And then I'll have an overflow built into that where I'm going to have some water treatment going on to make sure that I'm not sending a bunch of stuff back down into the aquifer as it seeps through the ground. So there's going to be some purification of the dirty water. Just again, keeping in mind of water sources and can you hear me?
Oh, did we lose?
Nope.
I think we lost you or we lost me.
We're both lost, buddy. We're both so lost.
Well, whenever I have a large fish die, I try to get like a bush or a tree and, buy one. And then I plant it over that fish. So that way I've got a big bunch of not bacteria, but compost kind of growing underneath.
Yep.
And then when I look at the tree, I can remember my fish.
There you go. Absolutely. Pegasus Arena, good to see you. Appreciate you being here. I know you said hi earlier, and I think I might have missed that highlighted one. So hello previously, and hello as well now that you're not driving. Or was it great comment about freezing them? Because I have done that before. Where did you go? Somebody mentioned freezing them until trash day, which is definitely something that you can do. There it was. Leslie Perry said they could always be put in the freezer until they can dispose of it, like wait until trash day. 100% Leslie. Good call out on that one. I missed that piece of information there. Thank you for that.
My dad has a frozen fish story. When he was a little boy, his job was a paper route boy. And he went fishing and he caught a great big fish and he didn't know that he was supposed to gut it right away. He just froze it. And his dad's like, "This fish is no good. Throw this away, son." And so what he did was he wrapped it in a newspaper. And then when he went and did his newspaper route, he threw it into the yard of the people that always never tipped him or anything. They always gave him a hard time. So he threw him a frozen dead fish.
I mean, you could do that. Coral Work said, fry them up. I mean, that's possible too. You got a big old pleco, you make you some pleco soup. I was talking back and forth with someone earlier about eating piranhas. If they're fresh enough, just throw that thing in a pan and fry it up. A lot of different options out there. But fortunately, I don't really have to deal with that too much. I get the occasional guppy or inler that will pass on, and that's just because their life has come to an end, and that happens. But I haven't had to deal with any quote unquote losses where, oh man, this tank went bad quick, or piranhas bit the other one in half. They haven't done that recently, thank goodness. So that's been a plus. Although I've had really good success with piranhas even having large bite wounds right behind the back of their heads, being able to heal them up. And now I can tell because I know, and you can see a slight discoloration of the meat under the skin, under the scales rather. But otherwise, you would just look and go, I didn't realize that piranha had half the back of its head chewed off. Okay.
Yeah. Fish will grow back fins and everything. I had a angelfish that was attacked by a cichlid, one of those smiling cichlids. The smiling cichlid had been beat up by its tank mates, and I felt sorry for it. So I put him in with my angelfish tank to heal up. And one day, my favorite angelfish was torn to shreds. She was missing one of her pectoral fins, and she was just all beat up. And I was so mad because she's my favorite angel. She's a pearl scale koi angelfish. Beautiful, beautiful fish. She's got a broken jaw, and she's always had like this jaw that was crooked, but That's why I think nobody wanted her and I got her, but I absolutely love her. And she's the only angel I have left. She's like, Christ, 6 or 7 years old now. And she might be older. Gosh, Nico's going to be 9. I can't believe that. But nevertheless, she was beat up bad. And now she's like, you couldn't even tell she was beat up. She had scales missing off the side of her body. And yeah, she just looks great now. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, but they can come back from a lot if you give them the opportunity and kind of tend to them in the manner that they need tended to, depending upon the injuries. Look at this guy, our buddy Paul Sotero here. I want to give a huge thank you and a round of applause to Paul, who's kind of our main man moderator there, but also a member using his membership milestone super chat. Been a member for 26 months on Team Snowball because he wanted to throw flaming poop at me. It's got fire and poop emojis, and then the sunglasses emoji. Love it, Paul. You're a great guy. Flaming poop. There we go. But we do appreciate you, Paul. All your hard work means a lot, and I thank you for it because you get paid absolutely nothing. So you do it out of the kindness of your heart, and that means a lot. Get back to where it was. I had one. I missed a highlighted comment. I've got to find it. It was right there with Polly, and it was Cat Hair Crafts. Always good to see you, Cat Hair Crafts. Appreciate you being here. So love your snails, Fisher and Fever. Thank you very, very much. I got those as little bitty baby mystery snails and have grown them out. Once I get the fish room set up, they'll be going into their own tank. That's just a dedicated mystery snail breeding tank, and I'll drop the water level and all that. Let them start making lots of babies. But that is the project on hold at the moment. So, see, hopefully I can figure something out to get things moving soon. Get the shenanigans dealt with. Thank you, Cat Hair Crafts. Appreciate the compliment on the snails and appreciate you being here.
you know, talking about your piranhas and how you're making sure that your pets don't have an accident. How long's it been since your accident?
I don't know what, about 18 months, something like that. 2 years.
Oh man, I was guessing it was longer than that.
It may have been even
But
longer than that. I don't know. Time flies.
would it be
I'll
too
have to go check
gross
that out later.
or
I'm not.
graphic? Would it be too graphic if I showed it on screen?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a sensitive stomach, divert your eyes. Ed's about to show a gory picture.
Look at that bite. That was unbelievable. And now, is there any place that they can see it live still, like actual while it happened?
I think the video is still. I know the video is on TikTok, but on the follow-up video of just after it happened is on my YouTube. I put it up because people kept asking, and I couldn't. Like, TikTok had it up, and then they took it down at like 500,000 views, and then I put it back up, and I think there's still one somewhere with a couple 100,000 views. But I did a video on YouTube, and I was just like, we're just not going to monetize it. Or it may have even gotten partial monetization. I think I tried it, and they were like, yeah, we'll kind of do some monetization, but not full monetization. People kept asking to see it. And then Instagram, I think, took the video down. Again, people were asking to see it. So I was like, well, I could show it on Instagram, I guess. But it is all healed up. You can still see it's still kind of thin. You can see all the wonderful inner workings of my finger there, but it's all fully functional. So,
Did it happen during COVID or did it happen before?
It's a good question. It's been a long couple of years, and everything just kind of time warped.
I know. Well, COVID made like a time loop in our lives, and it all disappeared. Or at time, I don't know when anything happened, but we were so concerned. And you were like, it'll heal. And he was like Wolverine, and he had like a thing of skin over it the next week. I'm looking at it on my big giant screen. I got to get rid of that.
Right. I'm gonna say real quick, thank you, Danikin. I see you there, brother. Kenny E. Danikin Aquatics using his membership milestone super chat. Been a member for 35 months as well. So what up,
Oh,
James
wow.
and Ed? What's up, brother? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Him and you, Ed, I think are the ones that are in the running for the longest members. I have to check that. I think Kenny may have it at this point from when you had to change over your phone memberships and stuff.
I hate to be rude, but you mind if I drop off so I can get our special guest up on my show and get the show prepped? Because
You go
they're probably
right
waiting
ahead.
in the back.
It has been
So
an hour,
sorry.
and I've got one more question to answer, and then I'm going to be right over there with you. Ladies and
We'll
gentlemen, all
start as soon as
88
you
of you
come.
watching, I appreciate you. Don't go anywhere when this ends because it's going to automatically direct you over. If for some reason it doesn't, we'll get you a link, but you don't have to leave to go find Ed because we're about to go find him right now. But Delilah was asking, did it get infected? No, it did not get infected. And I did treat it at home. I never went to the doctor for it. I've had enough training for other circumstances to be able to take care of severe wounds that I kind of just put that process to the test, if you will. And took care of it, and it was fine. And yeah, I probably could have got skin grafts, but I didn't have insurance at the time, so ain't nobody got money for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Um, Such is life. But again, a huge thank you to all of you all for being here. I appreciate you. I hope we've had a enjoyable-ish live stream. I know it's been a little different tonight, a little bit wonky here and there. Kenny says no, like two in some years, James, because you were healing when I got you in, or when I met you guys in Tennessee. So there you go. It's been several years now. I think I still feel like I lost a year or two to Corona, but 2020 didn't happen, right? But I do appreciate y'all. We're gonna go hang out with Chattanooga Ed and a special guest over there. You already know what's coming. A huge thank you to the moderators, members, lurkers, listeners, super chatters, contributors, questioners, commentators, and of course the replay crew. I love you guys. Until next time, keep your fish healthy, keep yourselves healthy. Don't be afraid to catch yourself a little fish room fever. Take care, everybody.